All right, let's start off by saying Barakat Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. All right, welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is We're on Such a Low Level. And pretty much this lesson and this title came through inspiration of a video I was watching earlier by the brother Tazama in the Dallas camp, and he did a lesson based off of a vision that he seen, that he had. Says I seen a vision of 2nd Chronicles 7:1-3 in real time last night. This is the brother's channel, so you brothers subscribe and watch this video. I put it in the description box. Very good video. And as I was watching the video, he was speaking about seeing a man, which he perceived to be King Solomon, and just being pretty much like in awe of, his presence. He said it was a very masculine presence. He said he had fear, but not fear of being afraid, but fear of reverence, for this man because of, the way that he, his whole aura, the whole aura about him, and as he was speaking about the man, which he perceived to be King Solomon in his vision, and he kept explaining, about, about, what he was seeing. All I kept thinking in my mind is like, man, we're on such a low level, man. As men, women also, but more so the men, we're on such a low level, in comparison to where we should be. Even though we are supposed to be here, because we messed up, which goes into, the Lord had it set up this way because, he had a plan for us. But when you really look at the stature of our forefathers, as far as, their masculinity and them, being established and the manliness that they had, we've fucking fell to a very low fucking level, man. We're like, pretty much like the on the ground, in comparison to what our forefathers were on, or the level that they were on, and in comparison to the level that we're going to achieve, when the kingdom of heaven is established. So this lesson is pretty much centered around that. I got a couple of precepts. I was supposed to proofread another precept, but I've been doing, running around here, so I wasn't able to proofread that one. So Lord's will, this will be an edifying lesson, and we'll just read it together. So the first precept that I have, I want to go into, like I said, watch this video. It's 20 minutes and 11 seconds long. I put it in the description box for those of you that are too lazy to search, All right, so this is a cheer for prostrate Zion. Now this particular, well, let's just get into it. It said, awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments. This is dealing with the Lord raising up, the place also, Jerusalem, Zion, Israel, but it's also dealing with the people, because we're on such a low point. And what brought us to that low point is, our separation from our power. And when he stripped us of that, he stripped us of everything, stripped us of his name, stripped us of our language, stripped us of our culture, stripped us of everything, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. So it's saying to awake, meaning get out of that slumber, put on thy strength, because the strength is what? This word. This is our strength. The Apostle Paul spoke about that, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. It says, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, because this is what the Lord is doing. He's beautifying us, and he's going to also beautify our land also in the future. It says, the holy city, for henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean, because ever since we fell as a nation back in 70 AD, the only thing that has been in that land are nothing but heathens. We go to Luke 21:24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, the day being Israel, the edge of the sword by the Romans, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And that happened. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, the actual nations, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. This is why every so many years, you usually have different nations that are not Israelites that that are in that land. So that's going to happen until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, meaning when this whole system collapses and this last empire collapses, that's when we're going to get our land back, not before that. So right now we have no business going over to that land, as it stands, because the Lord is going to destroy that place. So you don't want to get caught over there when the Lord destroys that place. All right, so going back to Isaiah 52:2, shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down. Yeah, because now the Lord is prepping us, because it begins with the mind. Our minds have to be changed. This is why there's so many scriptures on being born again. There's so many scriptures on putting off the old man, putting on the new man, not being conformed to this world, because what's happening is we're being renewed by the spirit of our mind, and that's where it starts. So we're going through a transformation right now, mentally, and then eventually physically, because we fell so far that, man, it had to be a whole revamping, of our mindset, and of us. You see now, men today are not as manly as they used to be, very emotional, they got their, because most men were raised by their mothers, and, they were brought up with that emotional, spirit, not being able to think things out logically, but instead getting, all bent out of shape, just like a woman does, So it says, shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Why? Because we're, this is, like I said, for the land and also for the people, and we're being reestablished back on the earth as the people of the Lord. And this is why most people, when they hear about this, especially the other nations, they laugh, they laugh because they will not give us that honor, because we lost that honor, but we're getting it back. It says, loose thyself from the bands of thy neck. And what is that? That's this captivity, the different adhesion contracts, that Esau has, that he has us bound under, especially the very first one, which is the birth certificate, that has us in bondage. So the Lord is saying, loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, because it begins with freeing the mind first. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's freeing our minds. This is why Yahweh said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So mentally we're free, but physically we're still, in captivity. But the Lord is about to come and deliver us from this. It says, O captive daughter of Zion. So we have been or are in captivity. For thus saith the Lord, you have sold yourself for naught, and you shall be redeemed without money. This is why it says in Deuteronomy 28:68 that no man shall buy you. No man is going to be able to deliver us, or redeem us from this condition. It's only the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And we had to be brought down. That's why it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We've been destructured all the way down. It's like we're like the lowest nation on the planet right now, in comparison to the other nations. And that's how they view us. But in hindsight, we really are the top, of all these nations. It's just that we fell in decay. All right. So let's move on from there. Let's go to the next scripture, which is Haggai 2:6. It says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. And what's that shaking going to be? Those missiles, when they take this place out, and the magnificence of the chariots and the lasers that they're going to be shooting, because the Lord is going to revamp this world. He's going to destroy Esau's world, and set up the new world, which is going to be governed in righteousness, and wickedness will be put out. All right. So when this happens, when this great shake and this destruction happens, this is when the rest of the fulfillment of, us being taken out of this low state happens. right? It says, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts. So we're going to be filled back up with glory because we fell as a nation. You know, no other nation is subject to the things that we're subject to. You know, people, they might make fun of the other nations, you know, here and there, maybe the way they talk or things that they might do, but they don't laugh at them, you know, like they laugh at us. You know, how you see these goons walking around with their pants hanging off their ass. Motherfucker got gray hairs in his head, and he's still fucking sagging his pants. You want to kick the motherfucker right up the ass, man. Excuse my Swahili. You know? But this is the shit that they paint for us. Our women, you know, being painted as all prostitutes, hoes, strippers, you know, or tattoos all over the place. So they look down at us with great disdain. You know, it tells you that in the book of Lamentations, the 2nd chapter. It says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts. So what is it speaking about? Let's go real quick to Lamentations 4:1. How is the gold become dim? So gold does get what? It gets tarnished. You know? So this gold here is a representation of the children of the men of Israel. It says, how is the gold become dim? Because we've been tarnished. You know, in the different captivities that we came through. How is the most fine gold changed? And this is why the Lord said he's going to make a man more precious than fine gold, meaning an Israelite man of the elect. Because right now, you know, if this world was to continue to allow to continue the way it is, pretty much the majority of men would be homos and the majority of women would be lesbos. You know? You'll have all type of debauchery, you know, and madness going on. So it says, the stones of the sanctuary are poured out onto the top of every street. This was dealing physically back then, but it's also dealing with the men of the nation of Israel. It says, the precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? See? So we went from being these precious stones to being earthen pottery, you know, like changing the glory that we had one time and the splendor that we had one time. And we had to step down from that. This is why, you know, we tell you that we are kings in exile, pretty much. And that's what it is. We're kings in exile. So when we move on to Hosea 8:8, it says, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So we've pretty much fallen to a decayed state, you know, and that's why the name of the lesson is called We're on Such a Low Level, because this is where we've fallen to. Out of this great, glorious, you know, people, we've fallen so far down the rabbit hole in a bad way, you know, that it's, you know, it seems almost impossible to get back, you know, to that glorious state that we had. But thanks be to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and through his word and through his mercies, that we're getting back that tree of knowledge and being exalted back and being cleaned up and brought back, you know, to the Heavenly Father, brought back to his Son, brought back to the ways that made us great at one time. And we're starting to get that, you know, starting to get it back. The Lord said he would get his praise and fame in every land where we would put to shame. You know, yep, these are good precepts. Matter of fact, I'll read both of them. Jeremiah 2:11, have the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, which they don't. But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. And that's dealing with these different idols, you know. And Deuteronomy 28:43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And that's exactly where we're at, very low. So we're in such a low condition, you know, that the nations, that they laugh at, you know, the idea of us even being exalted or being the people of the Most High. So that's what the Lord is doing now, though. He's exalting us. Then it goes on to say back in Haggai 2:9, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So this is where we're getting to now. We're getting to that stage. So when we go to Amos 9:9, it says, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. Why? Because we were scattered among the nations. So the Lord is using his word to gather us back, to build us back up, where we're supposed to be. It says, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Because no matter where Israel is at, no matter what they look like, the Lord is going to deliver every single Israelite, because that is the seed of the promise. But the catch is, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. And that's what's going to happen. Those that don't get right, that don't get in line with the Heavenly Father, they're going to totally be destroyed. That's it. Then it goes on to say the restoration of Israel. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. And this is happening now. The Lord is building us back up. He's breaking the breaches. He's separating the breaches. He's bringing all of the tribes back together. This is why you have, the so-called Negroes with the so-called Puerto Ricans, or the so-called Cubans with the so-called West Indians, so on and so forth. The so-called Mexicans with the so-called, Guatemalans, so on and so forth. Everybody coming back together in their proper, place. Because the Lord is building up these old decayed ways of ours. Because he's building us up and bringing us up out of this low level that we've sunk to. All right, it says, yep, this is good. This is good. Because that goes good with the scripture in Jeremiah 2. Degenerate, having lost the physical, mental, or moral qualities considered normal and desirable, showing evidence of decline. And this is pretty much what happened. We're on the evidence of our decline is evident. You could just look at, just all you had to do is just look at Jake in the ghettos and the barrios, wherever they may be, and you could see that we've degenerated. We're not the desirable, or the desired nation to be. Even though Jake still got all that flavor, and everybody wants to be like Jake, but nobody wants to be like Jake. If you understand what I'm saying. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And that's why all of the differences among the tribes are being closed up, because the Lord is on a mission to build this nation up. It says, and I will raise up his ruins, because we've been ruined, and I will build it as in the days of old. Let's take a quick look at that word ruins. Raise up his ruins. The word ruins is the word harayasa, ruin. It just says ruin, something demolished. And pretty much what happened to us is we've just been destructured, broken apart. It's still there, but it's in the lowest common denominator. And that's why the Lord, through this knowledge, is building back up the Israelites, especially the Israelite men, from this low estate. And of course, once we get our glory, our women will get their glory also. So let's go from there. Let's go to Ezekiel 36 and 22, when it says, Israel to be renewed for his name's sake. And this is the only reason why the Heavenly Father is having mercy upon us, because he swore to Abraham. He put it on his name. So the Lord is cleaning us up because of his great name's sake, not because of any righteous thing that we've done, because scripture said the Lord was the mark of iniquity, who would stand. So it says, Ezekiel 36:22, therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord power, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which you have profaned among the heathen whither ye went. And this is why we're being built up. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which you have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith Yahweh, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. And this is what's happening. This is why they get nervous. When you go back to Psalms, the 50th chapter, around the 21st verse, it speaks about how the Lord is going to set us in order before their eyes. And when they see us, when you go to Revelation 11, Ezekiel 37 and Revelation 11, the Lord speaks about how these nations, when they see us being set in order, they're going to be nervous. And that's what's happening. They're seeing the restoration of the sons of Zion being restored back together. Of course, our women also, but it begins with the man, because this world is a woman's world. So they're seeing the restoration of the sons of Zion, being elevated and restored and built back up and brought back into their right mind, brought back into their customs and their laws, statutes, commandments, and everything else that comes with it. And they're getting nervous. So it goes on to say, for I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, because first we have to make it through here. We have to be built up spiritually with this knowledge. Second step is to be delivered out of here into the chariot. Then the change comes. Then, the stony heart gets removed. Then the law, statutes, and commandments are placed into our spirit, and then we will be perfected. So we're going through the first stages of restoration. When you first find something that you have to restore that's all messed up, is in a really bad case. And you have to go and you have to, do like a process on it in order to restore it back to its original state. You see that a lot with these different vehicles, or they restore vehicles. You see the thing is a rust bucket, but by the time they finish it, it's back restored to new, how it was when it was first made. And that's what we're going back to. That's what we read. The latter glory of this house shall be greater than the beginning. So we're being restored, but we're not going to be restored to what we used to have. We're going to be restored to something even better. And this is why the second covenant, which was established upon better promises, is a better fit for us. All right. So it says, then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness. It says, then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. And this is why we had to be cleaned up. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. Yeah, because everything about us has to be changed, from the flesh to the stony heart to the laws being inserted into our minds. So we're going through a journey right now of being brainwashed, our minds being washed, with the truth, to be able to, understand what's coming next. And the more these prophecies are fulfilled, the closer we get to salvation and to greatness. It says, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh and will give you an heart of flesh, right? So that we can do the right thing. No longer go off. Every move we make, every step we take, it will be nothing but righteousness. It says, and I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your power. Why? Because the Lord is restoring us. I will also save you from all your uncleannesses, and I will call for the corn and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, that you shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Yeah, so we're not gonna, ever again, once the Lord reestablishes us, we're never again gonna falter. When you read Daniel the 7th chapter, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Daniel 7:18. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So it's going to be a continuous age, uninterrupted rule. It's not going to stop, because it's going to be Yahushai's kingdom / our kingdom, because we're joint heirs with Yahushai. It says, verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, because the kingdom is going to be on earth, contrary to popular belief, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. So imagine that, going from this the state that we're in, where we're being ridiculed, called all types of proverbs and bywords, to being exalted to where all nations come and bow before us and laud us as the kings and princes that we are, and princesses. That's gonna be something, man. So we're going through that process right now. Now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah 35 and 1, because we already read 52. I wasn't supposed to read that one first, but that's okay. It's all the spirit. It says this is Zion's happy future, because we were broken down. We were like earthen vessels. We were like a vessel wherein there's no honor. Now we're being cleaned up, polished, restored to get back that honor. So Isaiah 35 and 1, it says, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. This is dealing with physically, but it's also dealing with the people of Israel. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto thee. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our power. Yeah, because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the earth, the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened. Everything about us is going to be glorified. It says, strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your power will come with vengeance, because it begins with the vengeance, because the Lord said that he's doing this for the controversy of Zion. All right. It says, even the Most High with the recompense, he will come and save you, because we need saving. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. And this is what's going on right now. The ones that were in blindness are open. They're in blindness and in being deaf, meaning spiritually blind and spiritually deaf, are now starting to see the truth. Right? It says, then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. That's talking about this knowledge being poured out, upon the Israelites that are to be, restored. It says, and the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Yeah, because when something is well watered, it brings forth life. So this knowledge, watering the minds of the elect brings forth life, the tree of life. It says, and an highway shall be there. And what is that highway? What we're teaching right now, that path. When it said, and you shall hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk ye in it. It says, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness, because this is the way or the path to holiness, which is this truth. The unclean shall not pass over it, right? Because that's why it says, he that is unclean, let him be unclean still. He that is ignorant, let him be ignorant still. Because we're moving on. We don't have time to be, babysitting, putting somebody on their lap, and rocking them to sleep. We don't have time for that. Things are moving fast. It says, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein, right? Because anyone that comes into this knowledge that's a part of the elect, their whole mind is going to be changed. From them stupid, foolish ways that we used to have to a more somber, grave, spirit. It says, no lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. That's physically, and that's also dealing with these nations, comparable to lions and ravenous beasts. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. So now let's look up this word redeemed. I wonder if this is dealing with all nations. Because, the bullshit consensus out there through plantation Christianity is that all nations can be saved. But the scriptures keep speaking about the redeemed, the reconciled, the ministry of reconciliation, the gospel of reconciliation, reconciled. So the word there for redeemed is ga'al. It says to redeem, act as a kinsman redeemer, avenge, revenge, ransom, do the part of a kinsman. Why? Because we would not be able to redeem ourselves. So we had to be redeemed by who? By Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is why Yahushai came as a savior. To act as kinsman, do the part of the next of kin, act as a kinsman, redeemer. Let me see. To redeem with the Most High as subject Israel from Egyptian bondage. And right now we're Israel from exile. See? So we're being redeemed from exile. We're in exile right now, and we're being redeemed back. The word exile, let's get definition. I need some definitions. It says the state of being banned from one's native country, typically for political or punitive reasons. And in our case, it's punitive reasons because we were punished. So we're exiled, but now we're seeking to go back. Let's go real quick to Isaiah. I believe that's 51. Yep, 14, Khan. It says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. Right. So we are the captive exile. Matter of fact, let me see what the word exile here says. The word there is tazai, to stoop, bend, incline. To stoop, bend, incline, tip, to tip over, to imprison or conquer. Captive exile. So we're in captivity and we're exiled, or removed from our land for punitive reasons, for punishment. But now we're getting back the instructions on how to get back that glory. All right, so going back, it says, no lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. That's right. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and the ransomed, see? What is ransom? Something that's paid, for a hostage, right? Ransomed, padah. Ransom, redeem, rescue, deliver. Goes back to redeemed. The only redeemed are the Israelites. And when you look up this word ransom, let's get rid of this one. Oh, what the hell is going on here? Some old crinkly booty and shit. Ransom, a sum of money or other payment demanded or paid for the release of a prisoner. It's a payment, a payoff. A sum of money or other payment, and in this case is an other payment, demanded or paid for the release of a prisoner. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's redeeming us, ransoming us. So let's read that again. And the ransom of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. This is why it says that the Lord is going to wipe away all tears. Yahushua said, you shall sorrow, and the world shall rejoice, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. Once we see Yahushua cracking them clouds, our sorrow will be turned into joy. Once we see the Lord judging America, it's time for us to, rejoice in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the last precept is here in Revelation 21:1, the new heaven and earth. And this is dealing with the nation of Israel, being reestablished. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians being reestablished as the people of the Lord and glorified. And that's what this whole chapter is about, the glorification of the people. This is not talking about an actual building, although it's painted or portrayed that way. It's a metaphor for the nation of Israel being, brought back, to their rightful place, to that status. Revelation 21:1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. That's Esau's earth and the nation's earth. And it's going to be renewed. And there was no more sea, no more nations are going to be ruling. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, because that's what's going to happen. After the deliverance, the great glory that's gonna proceed, from this. Because matter of fact, it says as a prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Forgot to grab this precept. Let's go real quick to 1 Corinthians 15, and just gonna go straight to the point. It says 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption, and these bodies are corrupt. It says, behold, I show you a mystery, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed, right? Because not every Israelite is going to die. You're going to have the elect that are going to make it. It says, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. It says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So that's what we're getting. We're getting the victory. All right. And this is what we're reading about here. That here it is. These men that you see, they went through, that process of being delivered, of being changed. Now they're coming back down on the earth to take their rightful place as rulers on the earth. So it says, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And we just read about, the great change, in the twinkling of an eye. It says, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. So he's refreshing everything. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. And we're drinking from that fountain. But when the kingdom is established, we're going to really drink, from this fountain, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right. And this will be where we'll never go off again. It says, he that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. And this is why, how you know that this city that John saw was a representation of the nation of Israel. It says, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death, which is here in America. Second death, the first death being the flood. This being the second death. And that's after that, that's, when the kingdom starts. Right? So it says, Salakia. Yeah, Salaki about that. I have to take that call. All right, so Revelation 21 and 9. And there came unto me one of the seven angels which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride and the Lamb's wife, which is the nation of Israel. All right, then it says New Jerusalem or New Jerusalem. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain. And this great and high mountain is the same great and high mountain that we read of in Isaiah the 2nd chapter and Malachi the 4th chapter, being what? Exalted back to its rightful place. Remember, we read in Haggai, the glory of this latter house is going to be better than the beginning. It says, and show me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the Most High. And this is the changed elect coming back down, from, being, set up in those incorruptible bodies, so on and so forth. Having the glory of the Most High, and her light was like unto having the glory of the Most High. See? Why? Because the Lord said he's going to put his spirit within us. And their light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. So we're going to have a glow about us, and this is why it's written. Let's go real quick to Isaiah chapter 40 and 29. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fail. Or should I say fall, Salakia? But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. See, we're going into a renewal. Shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And that's going to be spiritual power. All right? So going back, Revelation 21:11, having the glory of the Most High, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written therein, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So where are the nations written on these gates? How come they don't say, and the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel and all other nations, their names written on there? Because they weren't promised this. This promise was only given to the nation of Israel. They'll be forced to follow our law, statutes, and commandments under penalty if they don't do it. Read Zechariah the 14th chapter. So the thing that they're going to get because they're going to have to follow it. It's not going to be a thing of choice that they're going to have to follow it. We're getting it because the Lord gave it to us. It's ours. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. What about the other nations? It says, and he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city and the gates thereof and the wall thereof. And when we read Revelation 11, it says that the court that is without, don't measure it, because it's given unto the nations. Come on, man. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man that is of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. Because there's, the kingdom of heaven is also going to be glorious. There are going to be streets paved in gold. There's going to be castles and mansions, and however it's going to be, with precious stones and all of that decked out. Oh Lord, Salakia. All right, Salaki for that again. All these disturbances, man. Revelation 21:19. It says, "And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished." It says, "with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst." It says, "And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass." Man, this kingdom is going to be something else. "And I saw no temple therein, for the Lord power almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it," right? Because the temple was set up for what? For sacrifices, for the Lord once a year. We had the Day of Atonement, and the Lord, would forgive us for our iniquities for that year. The temple is not going to be needed because there's not going to be any sacrifices for sins. There will be sacrifices. Man, get the hell out of here, man, clown. Because there's not going to be any sacrifices for sins in the kingdom of heaven. But there will be sacrifices as far as, the Day of Atonement. I'm sorry, not Day of Atonement. As far as the Passover and, different high holy days, different offerings and things of that nature. But as far as offering for sins, no. Because why would we have to offer for sins when we're going to be perfect? That was given to us to find a way back to the Heavenly Father. It says, "And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it. For the glory of the Most High did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof." It's still going to be sun and moon and all that, but it's not going to be the sun or the moon or the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of this world. It says, "And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it." Why? Because these nations are going to bring their glory, their riches to us, because they rightfully belong to us anyway. That's why it says that we shall boast ourselves in the riches of the nations. "And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall," in other words, it's going to be, the kingdom of heaven is going to be out of this world. Put it to you like that. "And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it." Right, because all nations are going to, their goods, their resources, everything that they have is going to come to us. Because remember, them nations are going to be tributary. After 1,000 years, Esau is going to be rounded up, burnt up, all of them devils, and the other nations will, be in their land, governing among themselves, but they'll still be tributary to us. It says, "And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth," no Edomites, "neither whatsoever worketh abomination," no Edomites, "or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life," which are who? The Israelites. And that's when we'll be, exalted out of this low state. Because right now we're on such a low level. And like I said, this lesson or this title was inspired by the video I watched earlier. The brother Tazama from Dallas. I seen a vision of 2 Chronicles 7:1-3 in real time last night. And I put this in the description box. So if you brothers want to watch it, just click on it once this video goes up. And that's that. So with that, I pray that your brothers and few sisters have been edified. Salaki for the interruptions. And Lord's will, catch you in the next one. Shalom.